Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from LastStandGamers, and today I'm joined by
Levitating Gamers. Hello there.
So Levitating Gamers are basically a friend of mine, Tazu, who started up this channel for space engineers, and he really got me into space engineers, and basically he builds some amazing designs. I have to say, some of his door work, some of his ships, he's done some Halo series craft that I think are absolutely amazing, so the link will be in description to his channel. But moving on, this is Monday Mailbox, the series where I try to answer your questions and give you my thoughts on the subjects that you post in the description below. So the first subject that we'll be discussing today is, of course, camera blocks. What do you think of camera blocks, Tazu?
I think camera blocks can be really great. We can use them for a lot of purposes. You can have them for, well, mainly surveillance, I believe. But I think I know you mentioned at one point earlier today that you wanted on like small probes and such, and I think that can be really good as well for offensive purposes, maybe.
I mean, there's going to be situations where there's guys basically coming down the corridors, they've breached inside your ship, and if you lay out cameras around your ship, you might be in your safe room, or maybe the ship's command center, and then you'll be seeing them breaching through the doors, and slowly getting closer and closer, and you guys will have to just prepare for that onslaught. But yeah, like you said, there's going to be there could be probes, there could be all sorts of different things, creations. It could be a rear view camera for the rear gunner in a fighter or something. But yeah, there's some great applications. Well, moving on, we'll move on to the next question. Let's talk about something that I've seen a lot in the comments. What is the perfect multiplayer ship? I mean, I don't think there can be an answer, right, Tazu?
No, that's a really hard question. It really depends on what you define as the perfect ship. Is it the perfect warship? Is it the perfect cargo ship? And whatsoever.
Well, we've got a few different classes here, and I think me and Tazu will just discuss through. So we'll go through the perfect transport sort of cargo ship first. So would you say with this speed or size? So I mean, like you could go with a massive one, like a massive cargo container ship, and have actually loads of cargo on board and transport loads, or you could go with a really fast ship that will be basically able to get through them lawless sectors, you could say. What do you think?
Well, here again we can divide it into subcategories. We can have, if you want to transport a load of rock, that's not as valuable, so you can have a really big ship for that. But if you want to transport uranium, you may need a small ship. That's really fast.
Yeah, I see your point there. I mean, with the value of different things, we don't know actually how valuable they'll be in like a multiplayer environment where there'll be loads of people trying to get them same sort of resources. But anyway, let's move on to the perfect sort of military ship. So what would you think on this one? Do you think big is better? Or do you think it'll be something small with a lot of turrets to cover lots of angles and fighter bays and so on?
Well, yet again, we have the different categories. I don't know what you think, but if you have the crew member, I believe you should build as big ship as you can, pretty much.
Yeah, because if you start off with a lot of people, then you can probably spend the time building that really big ship to a standard, but then you can also divide them into little teams. You were talking about that before. You want to explain that again, that tactical different teams you were going on about?
Well, for example, the building time in the game, we have seen from the trailers the construction in survival mode. It takes a load of time to build something. But if you divide your group or faction into different teams, so you have a resource gathering team, you have an engineering team, and then you have an assault squad, then they are tasked with different operations and they work in like symbiosis with one another.
Well, it sounds like a pretty good idea, that, because you could have one team quickly mining the ore for the ship while the other people are building, and then if you did it right, you'd have a massive crew, and you'd have an engineering team to fix damage as it was happening in the battles. You'd have your assault team to board the other ships. You have your fighter pilots and all that. And the last ship that a lot of people ask about is, what is the perfect fighter? Is it a fast fighter, or is it a multi-cockpit sort of fighter, or would you say it's more of a role thing, like you might want a recon one that's fast, and you might want a heavy one that's more for heavy hitting firepower?
Well, as always the other categories, we need to make subcategories once again. I believe you need. I don't really know if the perfect ship is what you need to go for. I think you more need to go for the perfect fleet, to be honest, where you have a diversity of ships.
Yeah, like a group of ships working together, do you mean? Like to accomplish one goal, and each one has a different role, and without the other, it's kind of not as good, but if they're all in... So yeah, I understand perfectly what you're saying. Without a certain ship, you need like a number of ships, not one.
Yeah, like you scale up the squad system with the different tasking, we scale it up to a fleet level, so we have transport ships, we have fighter ships, instead of just a fighter team and a resource gathering team. We make them with their own ships in a fleet. But then again, that requires the resource, or the manpower rather. Yeah, I don't know how hard it will be with manpower. What do you think about that?
Well, I think with our empires, you've got quite a few guys, and I've got quite a few guys, and since we've got an alliance together, I think building things is not going to be a problem. We've got the people to build the creations, and work on the different areas in the assault teams and things. So I don't see manpower as a problem for us. But if you are that lone survivor, that's where it's going to be a problem. You will literally be scavenging, and if you see one of these big ships that one of these factions have made, you just have to run in fear, I think.
Probably. Maybe you can make some sort of infiltration ship, because if fleets are too big, you can easily just get lost in the, like, amongst all the other ships. They won't recognize you as a stranger.
True, very true. Yeah, you could do something like they did in that film a while ago. Right, moving on to the last topic that you guys have been discussing in the comments. We're going to talk about tactics, and I think about the first tactic that we want to talk about is boarding other ships, and we've talked about this a little bit in the past. What do you think it'll be, Tazu? Do you reckon there'll be any point of an actual boarding ship, or will it just basically be two guys ramming into each other and then the battle happens in the rammed area?
I think in the beginning it will be pretty much a clusterfuck in the fighting, because people will just drive the ships, they will collide and they will fire everything they have. But as the community grows and they learn from the mistakes, we will get some really advanced techniques after a while, and I believe. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think exactly the same. I mean, it's definitely things that I want to try out on multiplayer, and I'm pretty excited for it whenever it comes about. And with the different teams doing different things and trying to get in other people's ships. There's going to be a lot of trolls, people with really small ships, maybe just armed with warheads all over them, just kamikazeing. But I don't know, hopefully there'll be ways of sorting these people out, because, I mean, some of these bigger designs, all it'll take is one dick in a little ship to crash into one of your main armaments and you can knock a turret off or something. But maybe that's your fault for not armoring it up and so on, protecting it a little bit better. But I don't know what you think about that and the trolls and so on.
Yeah, I know in your videos you have been speaking about how the guns for the big ship are rather defensive than offensive. So I think if that works as we think, then the issue wouldn't be that big. But if you have to man them manually, may have an issue, and trolls could become a problem.
Well, it's definitely with the bigger ships. Obviously, you need a bigger crew, and I think that's what we're basically going to talk about. But thanks for joining us today, and guys, make sure you check out Tazu's channel. He's done some great creations. What have you done recently, anyway, on the channel? I believe you've built some doors and some pretty crazy mechanical things.
Well, my current what do you call this? My current project is a Covenant fighter ship. It was intended to be a Covenant cruiser from the Halo series, but as I realized, the size of that was like out of scale. It wasn't possible for me to build, so I will make a mixture or a hybrid of different Covenant ships from the Halo series. I made quite a few Halo ships in the past, and I think I keep doing them. So that's what I'm up to right now.
Sounds pretty damn good. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.